What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be going over my recap for UFC Fight Night Cejudo versus Yadong. A lot of good finishes on this card, and the main event was controversial, so a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's get straight into it. Modestas Bukauskas KOs Rafael Sequeira in the first round, gets him up against the fence, lands a nice combination, and that's it. Just puts him out. Man, Sequeira, he fucking sucks. He's horrible. He's not UFC level. Get him out of the UFC. Modestas Bukauskas has like 10 fights in the UFC, and this is his first ever KO win, and it's a flatline KO at light heavyweight. Like, that's how you know Modestas Bukauskas has pillow hands, if you're not KOing people at light heavyweight. But he KOs Sequeira because Sequeira sucks. But yeah, good win for Bukauskas. He's been on a pretty good career resurgence recently, going from a 3-fight losing streak, getting finished twice, to now being 4-1 in his last 5, and also getting 2 back-to-back finishes with the submission over Praknio, and also now this KO over a can. But yeah, Modestas Bukauskas, man, he's always been one of the more technical guys in the weight class. You know, one of the guys that can kind of pick you apart, kind of dance around on the outside a little bit. But if he's showing finishing potential now, I think that makes Bukauskas a lot more like. I think that makes Bukauskas a lot more of a threat. Obviously, if he's showing finishing potential, I'm just fucking saying the obvious at this point. But nah, honestly, if Bukauskas is now like finishing people, I could honestly see this guy in the rankings. He's very technical for the weight class, and I think him versus like a Dustin Jacoby or like a Rodolfo Balata would be some pretty fun fights. So yeah, hopefully we get to see that next. I'm excited to see what Bukauskas does next, and yeah, let's move on to the next fight. Nursultan Ruziboev versus Eric Makoniko. I really regret not making this a lock pick. I don't know why I didn't, but oh well, can't change it now. Eric Makoniko kind of got steamrolled. He didn't really have anything for Ruziboev. Couldn't really get anything going. Landed a few good stuff with the kicks, but Ruziboev just kept hitting him with power shots and eventually found the right hand in, or was it a left? I can't remember, but eventually found a power shot on Makoniko, sent him flying across the cage, and hunted down a finish. So, yeah, good one for Ruziboev. Dude, this guy's huge for the middleweight division. This guy's a 6'5" middleweight. Like, I'm pretty sure he's the tallest middleweight on the roster. Like, and the fact that this guy, like, 2 fights ago, cut down to 170 to fight Buckley, like, that's wild to me. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, man, Ruziboev, huge for the middleweight weight class, and yeah, maybe what are some good fights for Ruziboev? I could maybe see like a Gregory Rodriguez fight could be pretty interesting. Both both very big, dangerous strikers who have grappling in the back pocket. That'd be very interesting. I'm not sure who'd win that one, but yeah, good win for Nursultan Ruziboev. And yeah, let's move on to the next fight. Austin Vanderford versus Nikolai Veretnikov. I went with Nikolai, and I got this pick wrong, unfortunately. But Austin Vanderford, great performance. He just pushed a heavy wrestling pace, got him down, and just beat him up on the ground, controlled him. And Nikolai had nothing off of his back. So, yeah, good win for Vanderford. I could see this guy actually being pretty good in this division. Very heavy wrestling pace. And, you know, it seems like these heavy wrestling pace guys like Marab, Anthony Hernandez, it seems like they're kind of just being a problem for everybody in their divisions. So maybe Vanderford is similar, but yeah, man, great win for Austin Vanderford. Not really much else to say. Maybe he can fight like I don't know. It's his UFC debut. Just give him like any other can. But yeah, let's move on to the next fight. Mansour Abdul Malik versus Nick Klein. I went with Mansour Abdul Malik via a second round TKO. This fight went 99% the exact same way I said it was going to go down in my prediction video. I believe in my prediction video I said that first round Nick Klein would get the takedown, he'd control him on the ground, probably win the first round, and then Mansour Abdul Malik in the second round is just going to lock in and find the finish, which is almost exactly what happened, except for the fact that Nick Klein rocked Mansour Abdul Malik very bad with a spinning elbow. It got me very scared, very nervous for my pick, but my boy Mansour Abdul Malik did clutch up. I don't know, man. I don't know if I see Mansour Abdul Malik being undefeated for too much longer. He's good. Don't get me wrong. He's pretty good, but I don't know. I don't know. He had a very iffy first round against a contender White Series newcomer. So I don't know, man. I don't know if I see too much potential in Mansour Abdul Malik, but he is very dangerous. That is for sure. So yeah, great performance from Mansour Abdul Malik. Not a great performance. He kind of got beat up in the first round, but second round he finds the finish. So I guess it is a pretty good performance. So yeah, let's move on to the next fight. Ricky Simone versus Javid Basharat. I picked Ricky Simone as an underdog by decision, and he gets it done by KO in the first round. Lands a beautiful right hand on the chin of Javid Basharat, and Basharat just goes down, and he's out cold. Great win for Ricky Simone. Good to see him back in the win column. And you know what? He probably just saved his career, because if he lost this one, they might have cut him from the UFC. So, great for Ricky Simone. And I thought this was a clear underdog pick. I thought Ricky Simone was the pick from the beginning. I just think Javid Basharat's super overrated, and you have to be somewhat special to beat Ricky Simone. And Javid Basharat just doesn't have that special. He doesn't have the specialness of these other guys that are beating Ricky Simone, like a Mario Bautista or a Song Yadong or a Vinicius Oliveira. You know those guys, the guys that are beating Ricky Simone. But Javid just has too many weaknesses in his game for me to consider him a prospect. I was kind of on the Javid hype train before the Amin Zahabi fight, but like, I'm not gonna lie, this isn't even the fight that made me realize Javid's overrated. It was the Amin Zahabi fight. Like, this fight just further proved it. And I knew Ricky Simone was the pick. He's a very explosive wrestler. Javid, he's a good grappler, but he's not just this like elite wrestler that just takes everybody down and dominates them there. Like, I knew he wasn't really gonna bully Ricky Simone in the grappling. And on the feet, yeah, he's got good output. He's fast, but no damage in potential, no power. He doesn't really cut anybody open. He just doesn't stun people that much. He can't damage people on the feet. He's just like a solid grappler with like good output and speed on the feet. And now he seems to even have chin issues maybe. Maybe not. Ricky Simone has crazy power when he really wants to, but yeah, man. Ricky Simone, great win, and further proving my point that Javid Basharat is overrated. So yeah, let's move on to the next fight. Andre Fili versus Melquizel Costa. Melquizel Costa gets the win via first round submission. This fight kind of pissed me off a bit, but I don't know. Great win for Melquizel Costa. Not going to take anything away from him, but Andre Fili, like the feet on the feet, it's looking pretty competitive. Costa's outlanding him a bit, but Andre Fili's getting a few good shots off, and Andre Fili takes him down. Does He's not in a guillotine right away, right? But he has his head there. He lets Costa set up a guillotine while they're on the ground, and he just accepts it. He just puts himself into a guillotine, basically. Like, Andre Fili has been in the UFC for over a decade, and he's still shoving his head into guillotines. I say still like he's done this before. He hasn't been submitted in a long time, I don't believe. But, like, I don't get why these veteran fighters, like, sometimes show low fight IQ. Like, you've been in there so many times. You should know not to stuff your head into a guillotine like that. But it is what it is. Great win for Melquizel Costa. I've been thinking about matchups for this guy because he is an entertaining fighter. He's got a fun style. I'm thinking like a fight between Melquizel Costa and Alex Caceres would be sick, or like Melquizel Costa versus Sodiq Yusuf. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about those fights. I think the Alex Caceres fight would be sick, but yeah, let's move on to the next fight. Ibo Aslan versus Ion Kutalaba. I picked Ibo Aslan via first round TKO as a lock. I thought Kutalaba's fight IQ was going to get him KO'd, but I don't know, man. He showed better fight IQ in this fight. Didn't engage in too much of a brawl with Ibo Aslan. Kind of just played defensive. Eventually landed a huge shot on Ibo Aslan, put him down, and then chased his submission. So good win for Ibo Aslan, or good win for Ion Kutalaba. Excuse me. I don't know what's next for him, man. He's had such an up and down career, but you can probably give this guy someone like maybe give him like an Umar Sai. You know, this guy's a good test for these light heavyweight prospects. I'd like to see him against like maybe an Umar Sai. As for Ibo Aslan, man, I don't know. Give him any other unranked light heavyweight. I'm sure he'll be ranked eventually. He just has to, he just has to brush up on some things. He is good, but Ion Kutalaba was just the better man tonight. So yeah, nothing really else to say. Let's move on to the next fight. Alonzo Menafield versus Julius Walker. I picked Alonzo Menafield by TKO. Menafield gets it done by split decision. I see a lot of people calling this fight a robbery. I disagree. I don't know, back and forth fight could have went either way, but I felt like Menafield was doing more damage with his shots. And Julius Walker, man, what the hell was that? This was a ranked UFC fight, by the way. Well, one of the fighters ranked. Alonzo Menafield, a ranked UFC contender in the light heavyweight division. And that's the type of fight we get. We got Julius Walker with like 13 minutes of cage control time, just holding them there. And then on the feet, he's just accepting punishment from Alonzo Menafield, just not throwing anything back and just walking around slowly and getting hit with big shots. So I don't know, man. This was a really weird fight. Really slowed down the momentum of the card. Every single fight before this was a finish, but I don't know. Good win for Alonzo Menafield, I guess. Alonzo Menafield has such a strange career. I think next for Menafield should be like maybe do Bruno Lopez. Bruno Lopez got a win on the first card of the year, I believe. So yeah, maybe Alonzo Menafield versus Bruno Lopez could be interesting. But yeah, man, good win for Alonzo Menafield, I guess. As for Julius Walker, maybe do him versus like a Marcin Prachnio or a Jimmy Crute. Those could be interesting fights. But yeah, let's move on to the next fight. This one was a bit of a weird one. Gene Silva versus Melsik Bagdasaryan. This fight brought the hype right back to the card, brought the momentum right back, and Gene Silva gets a nasty first round KO win. This was a lock for me, I'm not going to lie. Gene Silva was the pick here all the way. And Melsik Bagdasaryan, like I said, he didn't look terrible. He was landing some good shots. He was looking quick. He, like, slapped Gene Silva in the face, like, during the round. And Gene Silva kind of, like, laughed and started hyping up the crowd. And then he kind of, I don't know, they start tagging each other up again. Melsik kind of circles around off the cage, and Gene Silva lands a huge right hand that just sits Melsik down, and Melsik is kind of just sitting there, rolling around on the ground. While Gene Silva's like pointing at him, looking at the ref, telling him to stop it, and the ref doesn't stop it. So Gene Silva drops down, lands a bunch of nasty elbows to the body, and then one nasty elbow which lands right on the head, and the ref calls it. So yeah, man, nasty win for Gene Silva, man. Super impressive. This guy's dangerous. Like, it's crazy how this guy could just go in there and look like he's joking around and then just get like a brutal fucking finish. But yeah, next for Gene Silva. Honestly, there's a lot of fights you could give him. Does he deserve a ranked opponent yet? That's what the question is. And I think he does. I want to see Gene Silva versus Dan Ige, number 15 in the rankings. That is what I want to see. Gene Silva versus Dan Ige would be sick. They both kind of match each other in frame. They're both dangerous, kind of inside fighters. And dude, Dan Ige, the unfinishable. If Gene Silva can finish Dan Ige, that would like just send his career into stardom right there. If he can get a KO over Dan Ige, that would be absolutely wild. Or even if he just like brutally beats up Dan Ige and hurts him bad and drops him, that would still be very impressive because Dan Ige is super durable. He's never been finished before in his UFC career, and he's had a lot of fights. So if Gene Silva can get the win over Dan Ige, especially by finish, then that would just be huge for Gene Silva. It would bring him into the rankings, and yeah, man, Gene Silva, he's got so much potential. I could see this guy easily being a top 5 fighter in the division. Super dangerous, super slick, and just, man, great win for Gene Silva. Him versus Dan Ige is fire. I want to see him versus Dan Ige. Or even, like, if they don't want to give him a ranked guy yet, maybe do him versus Edson Barboza, who's just outside the rankings. I think he chins Edson Barboza pretty quick, but yeah, man, I want to see the Dan Ige fight. Gene Silva versus Dan Ige would be fucking sick. But yeah, let's move on to the next fight. Rob Font versus Gene Matsumoto. I picked Rob Font as an underdog, and he gets it done by split decision. Gene Matsumoto looked really good, though. He looked a lot better than I thought he was going to. In the second round, he was outstriking Rob Font pretty much, which was pretty impressive. But, man, round 1 and round 3 were Rob Font rounds. I've seen a lot of people saying Gene Matsumoto should have won round 1, and I don't understand that. It's damage-based scoring. Rob Font was lighting him up on the feet, doing way more damage. Matsumoto gets a takedown, doesn't control him for that long, and doesn't do any damage, so that's a Rob Font round. And then round 3, Rob Font had Gene Matsumoto all bloodied up, flustered. I was begging for him to go for the finish because I was nervous they were going to give round 1 to Gene, but they end up giving it to Rob Font. It was the correct decision. Rob Font won that fight. Very competitive fight, though. Very back and forth. Super good fight. And Gene Matsumoto, man, this guy has serious potential. He's still really young. He's got a lot of time to sharpen up his skills, and I think this guy could be a serious problem, man, in the bantamweight division. I could see this guy in the bantamweight top 10 within like the next 2, maybe 3 years. This guy's got a lot of potential. His grappling looks super high level, and dude, having that close of a fight with Rob Font while you're a prospect is very impressive because most prospects just kind of get shut down. He did better than Adrian Yanez. He did better than Kyler Phillips, who's already an established ranked contender. Like, dude, Gene Matsumoto's got potential. He does. Serious potential on Gene Matsumoto. And he's looked very improved. His last fight, he did not look this good at all. So, already showing massive improvements. So, yeah, great win for Rob Font, though. And he gets it done. Let's move on to the next fight. Brendan Allen versus Anthony Hernandez. I picked Anthony Hernandez by decision as a lock, and Anthony Hernandez gets it done by decision. I knew he was going to be the better wrestler. I knew he was going to be able to get the takedowns, and I knew he was going to be able to drown Brendan Allen with his pace and cardio, which he pretty much did. Brendan Allen, man, he showed pretty low fight IQ in this fight, I'm not going to lie. In the first round, he was landing some good shots on the feet. Hernandez goes for a takedown, and Allen tries to, like, climb the back of Anthony Hernandez, and, like, this whole weird thing happened. Hernandez ends up on top or whatever, and then they kind of grapple it out the rest of the round. And then Brendan Allen gets on top near the end of the first round and ground and pounds him and cuts him open. So big round for Brendan Allen, but then Anthony Hernandez, second and third round, just picks up the pace, starts wrestling him, gets the takedowns. And the difference maker is when Anthony Hernandez is on top, he's not just trying to like attack every submission that he can possibly get to. He will actually ride out control time, get good ground and pound going, and kind of drain you and tire you out. Brendan Allen, every time he was on top, he would always do some shit like trying to find a submission, go for like some stupid shots or something, and it would always end up in Anthony Hernandez scrambling out of the submission attempt and ending up on top every single time. That's what I knew the difference maker was going to be in this fight. Brendan Allen was too reliant to go for the submission attempts, and I knew there wasn't going to be a submission in this fight. These guys are too high level on the ground, way too high level. If anything, if there was going to be a finish in this fight, it would have been a late rounds Anthony Hernandez ground and pound TKO. But yeah, man, I knew he wasn't going to get submitted. I knew he was going to out wrestle Brendan Allen, so this was the pick for me. There's some interesting fights you can do with Hernandez, man. I think him versus Jared Cannonier in a 5-round main event would be interesting. And I think him versus Robert Whitaker in a 5-round fight night main event would be interesting. And that's what I want to see. I want to see Anthony Hernandez versus Robert Whitaker in a 5-round fight night main event. That would be absolutely sick. It would give both of them a huge opportunity in their career. It would give Robert Whitaker a opportunity to defeat this up and coming dark horse of the middleweight division and end the win streak and put some respect on the name of Robert Whitaker and make people remember who he is. And Anthony Hernandez, if he gets the win, that would add one of the best middleweights of all time to his resume and skyrocket him into stardom and put him in the top 5. So, yeah, man, that fight would be sick. The Jared Cannonier fight, honestly, stylistically might be a harder matchup, but it doesn't have nearly the same hype. We've seen Jared Cannonier get fight night after fight night after fight night. I think Jared Cannonier deserves something a little bit better than, a lower ranking guy. I think Jared Cannonier should, I honestly don't know who Jared Cannonier should fight. This isn't about Cannonier. And as for Brendan Allen, I think Brendan Allen should fight the winner of Roman Dolidze versus Marvin Vettori. And then the loser can fight someone down in the rankings. But Brendan Allen versus the winner of Roman Dolidze versus Marvin Vettori, which early prediction, I think it's going to be Roman Dolidze. So I think we're going to see Brendan Allen versus Roman Dolidze, which would be a very interesting fight. But Brendan Allen versus Marvin Vettori would be interesting as well because we know we know that they have that beef. They had that kind of whole thing going on, so that could be interesting too. But yeah, man, Hernandez versus Whitaker, that's the fight to make. Let's move on to the next fight. Main event, Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong. Man, I got my pick right, but I didn't want it to be like this. A technical decision because Henry Cejudo gets poked in the eye and says that he can't see, so they can't continue the fight. When this first happened, I was mad at Cejudo. I wanted him to keep going, mainly because I just don't like Henry Cejudo, and if he really couldn't see out of that left eye, boom, free KO for Song Yadong. But yeah, man, Henry Cejudo, I understand if he really couldn't see out of that left eye, if his vision was really that messed up, then sure, take the technical decision loss. Song was going to win the fight anyways. He was up 3-0 in my opinion. All 3 judges had him winning the fight, and Henry Cejudo was fading. He was getting more tired. Song Yadong was still fresh. It either would have been like a Song Yadong 50-45, 49-46, or maybe even a late rounds TKO. Song Yadong was on his way to win the fight, so I don't know why people are complaining. I'm seeing some people saying like, Cejudo was winning the fight. He would have won the fight if he didn't get eye poked. Nah, but even before the eye poke, Song Yadong was winning. Like I said, I thought he was up 3-0 when the technical decision was called. So yeah, interesting main event. Very interesting way to end the card. Definitely not what we wanted, but you know what? Who cares? They talked about having a rematch. Henry Cejudo or Song Yadong was like, yeah, I want a rematch. Henry Cejudo was like, sure, let's run it back. So yeah, I think they should run it back. I think Song Yadong just wins again. I'm not gonna lie. He was winning pretty much every round, and Song Yadong is gonna be better the next time they fight. He's getting more into his prime, and Henry Cejudo's getting older, and he's getting out of his prime, or he's been out of his prime. So yeah, man, Song Yadong's gonna win the rematch. It doesn't matter. Hopefully there's nothing weird that happens next time, and Song Yadong can get his official win over Henry Cejudo and fight up in the rankings. But yeah, man, Song Yadong, good win, I guess. I mean, he was winning the whole fight, so I guess we still have to applaud him for a good win, because if it was a 3-round fight, it would have been a Song Yadong 30-27 in my opinion. So yeah, man, all 3 judges had him winning the fight. One of the judges gave Cejudo round 1, I think. How? That was Song Yadong's round all the way, but I don't know, man, these judges are a little bit strange sometimes. But yeah, let's get on to the official recap. I went 9 out of 12 on predictions, really good for me. Only got 3 wrong, so I'm proud of that. I hit 2 of my lock picks out of 3, and I hit both of my dog picks, so also pretty good for me. I'm proud of that, especially the Ricky Simone underdog pick. That was a great underdog pick for me, in my opinion. Fight of the night, I'm giving to Rob Font versus Gene Matsumoto. Really fun back and forth scrap. And best finish is going to go to Ricky Simone, KOing Javid Bashra. That was really, really fun. And really just, what's the word? Really nice. It was just really nice to see Javid Bashra go out like that and Ricky Simone get another win. So yeah, that's going to get best finish. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, leave a comment. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me what you guys thought about the card too. I reply to every comment, so don't be shy. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.